Hey guys, it's Misty with My Paper Cuts, and today I am back with episode 4 of my Bustin' Through My Christmas Stash. I'm making some progress, so I'm getting pretty excited about using up some of this stuff and having some good gifts for my friends and family for this Christmas. So for this project, I actually used this paper collection. It is by Moda Scrap, which, in case you haven't heard of them, they are from Italy. I did pick up 2 of the collections because they're pretty small. There's only 12 sheets, and there's one of each design, and the sheets are single-sided, but the cool part is the back of this one was this really cool cream, and it's got little flecks in it, which is really nice, so it goes with the paper collection really well. So I'm actually going to save this, and then I have 2 cut-aparts left, which again I'm going to save, and this is all the scraps I have left. It's just this little pile here, so I'm going to save all of this to go with my other set of this because I do love this collection and I'm okay with just using one of them for now. So for the first project I used an old mini album that I picked up from Heidi Swapp. There unfortunately isn't a picture on the back, but I wanted to save this and show you guys. I picked this up at Tuesday morning, if I can get that to focus, back in 2014. So I'm super excited that I used this album up. So this is the album. It has 2 wooden covers and then 6 inner pages. So just to jump right in here, I did switch out the rings because it is a little bit chunkier than it was when I started, and it came with 3 really small rings. So I had these kind of bronze colored rings. So the front cover here it's got this intricate design on the side, and it's a little bit shorter than all the other pages. So it lets that first page kind of show through there, which I really liked that. So I just traced around it with this pattern paper, and then I cut this out with my X-Acto knife and inked around everything. This time I used walnut stain. I wanted something a little bit darker. And then the back cover is the rest of that sheet of paper. And then one of the little cut-aparts. And with all of the cut-aparts in this collection, I wanted to show you guys one of my new favorite things. It was this Nuvo glitter marker. I got it in one of the kits. I get their card kit every month. But this thing is so cool. And I have a whole bunch of them, but this one is called Iced Americano, but it's a really pretty, not sure if that's picking that up there, but it really is glittery. You'll be able to see that later on in the album here. But so I used a Simon Says stamp die that says Merry and Bright, and I cut it out of some Nuvo specialty paper, which it's a deep red foil. And I popped it up on some foam, and then I just put it on a couple little layered die cuts there to give it a frame. And then this little poinsettia is from Penny Black. It's one of my favorite ones. I didn't mold this one because I wanted it to be a little bit flatter. So, and then I put a little bit of stickles in the center. And then these are some branches from Tim Holtz. And then on the pattern paper, I used some Nuvo stone drops and some stickles again, just to accent that design. And then here on page 1 is one of the cut-aparts. And there's a 3x4 landscape, and then this opens up. I used tie closures a lot on this one just because it was easier. And 2 more 3x4 photos. And then on this side here, I used a border die and then folded it over and tucked it behind this photo mat so that it could kind of frame that but be free floating, so it was, you know, something pretty and delicate there. And then there's a tag back here for some journaling with a little bit of seam binding on the top. And then the pages in this were white, but I just used my Copic marker to color them brown so that they wouldn't be stark white against all this kind of antique paper. So this is a cut-apart that I just layered up on a scallop punch piece and a scallop border across the top with some of the wood grain paper. That's actually left over from the covers. And then, oops, these are some die cuts that I have that I just cut out of some specialty papers that match the collection. And there's a 4x4 photo. And then over here is a couple more of the ornaments, and I did tie those. I don't know if that'll pick it up, but there's some gold thread tied around the top of those and then tucked underneath that scallop border at the top. And then this little booklet here is has a magnet, and it has, again, 2 3x4 photos. And I don't know, let me see if I can get in there so you guys can see that glitter marker along the edge of that cut apart. I don't know if it'll pick it up, but it's really pretty, and it was really easy to edge all those. So in the next page, I just had this large 4x6 photo with one of the cut aparts, and then I used a couple of stitching border dies on the edge of all these banner shapes in the cut aparts. This is some washi tape, and then I did throw some stickles on there. And then over here, that is a wood piece from the Dollar Tree, and I added a little bit of stickles to it, but it's holding my waterfall shut. And on the waterfall, the top one is a cut apart, and then there's a 3x4 photo on the top of each, and then some pattern paper where another 3x4 photo could go, or you could just leave it plain. And in between, I did the washi tape again. So that holds a few more. And then this pink one I thought you could actually journal on because it's light colored paper, or you could put another photo. So the next page, sorry if I go through this really quick, I have several projects and don't want to make too long of a video. So there's another one of those pieces, and again, like always, these all lift up so you can tuck the photos behind. This opens up, again, this one and that top one open up for some more photos, and they tie shut. This one I actually put a photo on the top, and then it has 2 more photos inside. And there's another one of the banner pieces. And then this page here has another large photo with another one of the cut aparts layered up on some glitter paper. And then I used that same border die from the beginning here in several spots. And then on this piece here, there's an embossed piece of paper underneath and another one of the cut aparts, and then a little bit of seam binding right here that you just lift up. It's magnetized again right there, and it folds out to do several 4x4 photos. So I think that might be one of my more favorite pages. And then this page, this one's pretty simple. It just has 2 3x4s and 1 4x6. But I do have some of the cut aparts, and then I cut some branches out with my Tim Holtz dies again and just tuck them behind just to add some interest and go with the background paper there. And then this last page I used the little banner that was in the cut aparts. And again, these are all, they're only glued at the top so that the photo can go underneath them. And here's another spot for a 4x4, and underneath this little booklet here, which again is tied closed with some seam binding, I used this border, but it's not glued down, so again that top photo there can actually go underneath that border. And again, there's the back. So that was my first project. And then I made some cards, and I did do I had 2 full sheets of paper left when I finished the album, and so what I did was I made 6 cards with each of those sheets. So the first one is rather simple, but there was this text background. Let me see if I can get that out of the frame there. It was a text background paper that had a bunch of sayings in boxes, and that would be kind of nice. You could cut it apart and use it as little sentiment strips if you wanted. And then there was this wood grain paper here that had some snowflakes on it, but what I did was I stamped some additional larger snowflakes on top and gold embossed them just to add some interest. These are some more little strips of that same specialty paper that I was using in the album just to add some more dimension, but I did them as strips so that the card would still be pretty flat. And then this is a heat embossed stamp from Simon Says Stamp again. And then here's a pick that I cut apart and just tucked up underneath, and then here's a little tiny die from Tailored Expressions of Holly, and I added some stickles to that. And then on the inside of this one, it does say merriest wishes for your Christmas, and I just stamped some more of the snowflakes in tea dye and added a little heart and just kept that one pretty simple. So I made 6 of that card. And then this was probably the most time intensive card, but I think it paid off. And shout out to Miss Carrie Martin. What's up, Carrie? Hope you're feeling better. She's in bed sick today, so she was keeping me company while I was making this card and giving me some input. So with the tree background paper, I started with that layer, and then on top of that layer I did a stamp from Tailored Expressions that looks like twinkling snow, and I heat embossed that with this Sparkle Puff embossing powder. Let me see if I can get in there so you can kind of see that dimension and sparkle. And then excuse me, on top of that I have a tree. It's kind of just like a bear tree that was from one of the big die sets that they had at Tuesday Morning. And they were the Gemini ones. But it was just a bear tree. So what I did is I cut it out of the cream and I added more of that Sparkle Puff embossing powder to it. And then I cut it in half, and I used half over here a little bit shorter and then half on this side and just left it taller. And then on top of that is a snowy border here that I believe is by Lawn Fawn. So I just cut that out to go across the width. And then this silver glitter is a very delicate die with a bunch of hanging tendrils. And I'm not really sure where I got that from, but I cut that out of glitter paper, and it comes with a frame. So that framed up the whole scene. And then the deer is from Penny Black again, and I put some of the puffy sparkle embossing powder on his rump and his back and on his nose as if the snow is falling on him, and then dabbed it on his antlers as well, just to make it look like he's really standing in the snow. And then this stamp is from Simon Says Stamp, and it says feel the joy of the season. I just thought this card had a real wintry feeling to it, so that's kind of why I went with that sentiment. And then on the inside, it says kindness is like snow. It beautifies everything it touches, which I believe is so true. And then I used a tree border and stamped that in Distress Oxide Ice Spruce. It had kind of that greenish turquoisey color to it. It's a little more green than the card, but I still like the way it turned out. And then I hit that with a whole bunch of stickles just to give that feeling of snow again. And so then, like I said, I made 6 of each of these cards. So out of that 12-piece collection, I got a dozen cards and 1 mini album, and I still have some scraps left. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my projects today, and I am on to the next collection. Have a great week, you guys. Bye-bye.